our CD launch. As most of you know, we've signed with UK label Raccoons Records, so a lot of people can try and understand what our lyrics are about in different countries, hopefully. So we're going to talk a little bit about the band and the CD, and then we're going to play the CD. We thought that was better than the band playing it at you, so you can actually hear the recording. Now, I'm in charge of the History Channel on this one, because I'm the only one with partial memory. Still intact.
Hello.
I'm the band. Dave and I knew each other from uni. Dave was doing his 10th first year and I was doing my 10th third year. And we met in the bar, of course, where we met some of you as well. And I don't know if we ever talked about music. I can't really remember much about it. But at the end of 1986, we ended up playing at a party, a New Year's Eve party. So it's almost 30 years ago. And I don't know what went on there, but a few months later, Dave ran into me in the news agency, the sort of the hot places we used to hang out. And he said, would you like to form a rockabilly band? And I just sort of started to get interested in rockabilly because I was listening to some people who were playing some things I didn't understand. You know, they weren't blues and they weren't country, there was something else. So obviously I thought, oh yeah, this would be interesting. So we started getting some stuff together, which we could sort of play. And I think our first drummer was Robbie Hazelwood. I don't know if Robbie's there. There's Robbie over there. Welcome, Robbie. And we started rehearsing with Robbie and a bass player, Noel, and Dave and myself, and started to get some songs together. Then Robbie couldn't do it, and we got this drummer who was a friend of Dave's called Pig, many of you know. And Pig was fairly combustible sort of drummer, and was perfect for the style. So we started playing. Our first gig was at the Marquis of Hastings for a 40th birthday party, for Shaz's 40th. And it went really well. And at that time, the Doghouse was starting to take off. We started to get gigs there, but we weren't ready for the reception. The band got very popular very quickly. It was just a matter of we were playing the sort of music that a lot of other people were listening to. It was in vogue again. New country was in. Rockabilly had made a comeback. And so for the next 2 or 3 years, we just played and played and played. I mean, at some stage, it seems absolutely ridiculous now. We were playing 12 times a month. But in those days in Hobart, you could. And so eventually, well, I think one of the big things between then and now is that we'd only written 2 songs in all that time because we just played all the time. Rehearsed, played, and played the classics, played G. Vincent and Eddie Cochran and all that stuff. And then eventually it just sort of petered out. And by the early 90s we were just doing sporadic gigs here and there. And then we went our separate ways. Dave went on to play in a rockabilly band called Snapback. By that stage, by 1988, we got a new bass player, Mr. Campbell over here, who'd actually filled in at one stage. And so the 3 of us were sort of playing together regularly there. And we get together again and play every so often. And then in 2012, Dave said, do you want to have another go at it? And we went, oh, all right. Without our drummer Pig, who's lost somewhere out of Pontville. And so a Wacko who had played in Snapback with Dave came in. And the thing this time that happened was that we started to write. Dave brought a song along and said, okay, and then I brought a song along and Dave, and it just went on and on. And I think we've almost got 30 originals now, 12 of which are on the CD. And I think that's the thing that sustained the band, that we started to write and find our own sort of sound away from sort of a lot of the other rockabilly that's around. Anyway, that's the history part, and for the in-depth artistic analysis, I'll pass you over to Darwin.
Oh, shit.
Okay. It's probably looking at the aspect on, even when we first started the Raccoons right from the start, I always wanted to do a Teddy Boy style of rock and roll, with that slightly harder edge that I've known in England when I used to go and see bands like Crazy Cave and stuff like that. So I was interested in more the English style of instead of the American style, because you've got the different elements that kind of kick in, and especially that weird side of things with the English thing, where there's when you go back to the 1950s, Billy Fury and stuff like that, there was a lot of rock and roll going on which people didn't actually really, it didn't resonate, and then the Beatles came along and it was like, whoa, the Beatles. But there was actually a lot of stuff going on before that. You know, Johnny Kidd and the Pirates and stuff. So I've always been interested in that harder edge English rock and roll kind of thing. So even at the start of the Raccoons, when we first used to play, even though we did a lot of covers and that, we did the harder edge kind of Crazy Cave, who were the band that kept that kind of tradition going. The interesting thing is now that we'd actually got back together again, is that after all the years of playing in different bands and stuff like that, we're at the point where we can actually write the songs that we want to do now. When we were younger, we didn't have probably the ability and probably the interest to to do it right, but we know now what we want to do, and so what I'm really pleased with the songs on the CD is the fact that it's kind of portraying that, as I say, a Teddy Boy rock and roll sound, but that's not just has to be a specific thing. It can cover all different styles, and you know, kind of have that kick to it and stuff like that. And a lot of the songs I tend to write have stories behind them, and lyrically, and for example, on the CD All Draped Up, it takes me back to when I was younger. I used to dress up in my Teddy Boy gear and go down to the local hall in Swanton Abbott, which was in Norfolk, and all the Teddy Boys would turn up, and we do get into the whole thing and things like that. So it's kind of evoking a style of music which was old in one sense, but can still be relevant now because we can do it in our own way. And also being applicable to coming here, the other thing with playing that Teddy Boy rock and roll is it always reminds me all the time of playing at the Doghouse, the power that some of the nights we used to have there, the sweat used to be dripping off the ceilings, and it was just so powerful. There was just this kind of energy and you know, not the greatest word, but vibe going on. So what I'm really pleased with the recording is the fact that I think that we've got into that sense of that power and our own sound and the enjoyment of playing, and just exploring some different ideas about themes on songs and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to hearing what people think of it, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it goes universally and locally and stuff like that. So thanks for coming. And I'll just pass you on to Wacko, just have a quick natter about his idea of playing with me.
Well, I've got lots of words to say. I'm just going to get my... Thank you again for coming along. Yeah, well, I first met Dave about 92, was it, Dave? Yeah, and yeah, I didn't really have rockabilly in my mind at all. I was playing thrash at the time, funk, different styles like that. And I thought, yeah, why not? Give it a go. And even though Snapback was the first band I was in with Dave, was different than the Raccoons. It was just fun. It was fun energy in the music. We had an option to play a lot of different venues. We didn't pigeonhole ourselves. You know, we played the Taste and places like that. We did a lot of gigs, really.
Yeah.
But just the fun and energy of the music.
Yeah.
It was always good. And getting dressed up is something different as well. But yeah, the Raccoons is definitely the step up. Just more hard edge. Yeah, very, very dancey music. So yeah, I'm very glad to be part of the band and see what happens in the future. So, thank you. Any words, Mr. Campbell?
The strong silent type. Which were you expecting for? Wade, you ready? Have you got it?
Yeah.